is easy to think of a startup idea. It is easy to think of a project. It is easy to get a job. It is easy to think of something brilliant. But staying long enough with it and to completing it, that is the marathon. That is the tough part. And that is what Murakami talks again and again. I do cycle, and I cycle a lot, and with my husband and I, we've done 100 kilometers all over Gurgaon and Delhi. In fact, thanks. So, this book, Murakami, what I talk about when I talk about running, I was given this book soon after I had finished running 100 kilometers in one day. Me and my husband, we cycled for 7 hours. And I was like, I was in acute pain, of course. My legs were freezing up. And this runner friend of mine, he said that, you must read this book. And he quoted the iconic line from the book that pain is inevitable and suffering is optional. And this stayed with me, and I've started reading that book then, and I've gone back to the book so many times, and it relates to me as a writer, it relates to me as a person, and that is why I have chosen this book today. So, as Murakami, the big guy, the stalwart that he is, and a small-time writer like me, we all get asked this question time and over again. Where do you get your ideas from? And this is how Murakami begins this book, that, he's often asked, where do I get the ideas from? So, that is not really the tough part, getting the idea, but what the tough part is staying long enough with the idea to see it to fruition, to see it to completion, to see it becoming a book. It is easy to think of a startup idea. It is easy to think of a project. It is easy to get a job. It is easy to think of something brilliant. But staying long enough with it and to completing it, that is the marathon. That is the tough part. And that is what Murakami talks again and again. And that is what really resonated with me as a writer, because, I take very long to write my books. Unlike many other writer friends of mine, I take very long. I've been writing my current book, which hopefully will be my fifth book. And the working title of that book is The Perfect Lie. I've been writing that book since early 2023, and it's nowhere near completion. So, when I was preparing for today's talk, I was, thinking about Murakami and the long race and the marathon and enduring and stamina. And so, it comes, this is of course a memoir of a writer who also is a marathon runner. And the book is full of running metaphors, writing metaphors. And at the first glance, you might think that this is a book either for a runner or for a writer. Yes, of course. But there are so many life lessons that you can get out of this book. That's, mind-boggling, absolutely. So, to come back to his iconic line that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So it doesn't matter what you do, whether you are a writer, whether you are a runner, whether you're a cyclist, whether you are a baker, or you're an artist or whatever. Or even in life, if you're not a corporate person, if you're just living life on your terms, there will be difficult moments in your life. There will be struggles. There will be, like, any fitness enthusiast, any runner, if at all, in the group today, you would know that, like, the body gets hurt. You tear a ligament. You have injuries, and it takes time to heal. As a writer myself, I'm always beset with doubt. Is the story working? Are the characters good enough? And I'm a thriller writer. I write crime stories. So I'm constantly thinking, is it gritty enough? Is it fast-paced enough? Will it make the reader sit at the edge of his or her seat and flip through pages and tell me, oh my God, I consumed the book in 3 days? So, these kind of, I would call it suffering, but these kind of obstacles, these kind of questions, they kind of hound you. And if you are in a corporate life, you have other challenges. If you are like in your day-to-day life, in your relationship, there are challenges. But we don't give in to our suffering. We don't give in to the difficulty, to the obstacle that comes on. And that's what Murakami tells you again and again and again. That soldier on. Don't give up. You might be in acute pain, your ligaments might be, your muscles might be screaming, your characters are not working. Of course, he constantly, gives writing metaphors, but you can relate this with your own life, that, you have problems in your relationship, you have problems in your job, you have problems, any other problem. You don't give in to the problem. You accept the pain, you handle the suffering, and you go on. And then, he talks beautifully about solitude and discipline. Now, solitude is something which is very important. It's a very important subject today. Of course, he talks about solitude as a writer, as a runner, and I can equate that. He talks about that I just sit and gaze at the ideas float by like a cloud, and it's a wonderful imagery. But what I want to talk about is that in today's world, we are always surrounded with so much of noise, so much of activity, so many things are happening. And FOMO is something which is so many people, most of us experience, because we want to do it all. And solitude has almost become synonymous with loneliness, but solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is being at peace with yourself. In fact, a friend of mine taught me a new phrase. She said, I don't feel FOMO anymore, I feel JOMO, which is joy of missing out. So I think, it's so important to be at peace with yourself, to accept solitude, because I feel your best ideas come out of solitude. And then he talks about discipline. He said that, I sit down every day and I write every day. It doesn't matter whether you're writing, whether you're running, or whether you're, doing your work. You have to be disciplined. You have to do it every day, to get somewhere. And then, and the most beautiful part of the book is towards the end, where he talks about age and acceptance and, change. I'm 54 years old today, and, ideas come slowly to me. Our bodies undergo change. If you are a runner, as he says, that, my timing is not as good as it was before. My injuries are taking longer to heal. But you have to accept the fact that the needle has shifted. And this acceptance is not defeat. This acceptance is the reality that it does not mean that you leave everything and sit, but you try to do what you did yesterday a little better today. That is what Murakami says, that don't give up. Turn up every day, show up every day, and do whatever is passionate in your life today a little better than what you did yesterday. And that, my dear friends, is running the true marathon. Thank you.